Hello and welcome to this lesson about the coordinate plane. The learning target for this video is knowing the different parts of the coordinate plane and how to plot points. Now, the coordinate plane is a variation of a number line, and so I like to think of this question right here. What's better than one number line? Two number lines. Now let's think about it. A number line looks like that, right? And a number line helps us compare numbers, and so we usually start off with 0 in the middle, and we just start counting left and right with all the negatives over here, the positives there. And again, number lines are great for comparing numbers because if we want to, we can go with a traditional scale like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Or, we can kind of break it up however we want. We can go 0, and then we can go -1, +1, and we can talk about fractions if we wanted to, so 1/2. If we want to, we could go bigger and count by 10, or even more. So we go 0, and maybe, no, let's go by more, 20, 40, -20. And so number lines are a great way for us to visually appreciate where numbers stand in comparison to one another. Well, the coordinate plane is simply two number lines. So we start off with the traditional number line, and then we take another one, and we put it perpendicular like that. And this right here is what we call the coordinate plane. Coordinate plane. So that's what it is. Now, let's break it down and talk about the different components of it. So here's more what it's going to look like on like a fancy graphing calculator. For the coordinate plane, there are several parts that we need to know. One of them is what's the name of each of these big lines. So the one that goes left to right is called the x-axis. The one that goes up and down is called the y-axis. And if you're ever confused about which one is which, think about drawing a capital Y. Capital Y has the y-axis built into it with that vertical line. Why is it X and Y? It doesn't really matter. It's just a kind of different, to denote differences, and so that way we know which one is going left or right and which one's going up or down. And later, as you progress to like more real life problems, you change the labels for the X and Y axis. So these are just sort of stand-ins. Not too much significance behind why is it X and why is it Y. Anywho, so we know what the X and Y axis are. Now, let's talk about another key part, which is this part right here. We call this the origin. And that has an ordered pair of 0, 0. In fact, let's talk about an ordered pair. So ordered pairs are simply points on the coordinate plane. But what we do is we go by them, or we label them as x, y. Now this is where the x and the y axis come into play. The x and the y are standing in for numbers. And so what's going to happen is we can plot a point, like let's just take this point right here, and we look at the x-axis. How far over do we go? 1, 2, 3. So this point is going to be 3, and then how far up do we go? 1, 2, 3, 4. 3, 4. And we can continue this pattern for other points. And so let me get a different color. Let's go over here. For the green one, we're going over 10 on the x-axis, but it's -10, so we'll put -10. And then on the y-axis, we're going up 5. And so this is telling us its location on the coordinate plane. Next thing I want to talk about is something called called quadrants. Now, if we think about that word quadrants, one second, let me write it, quadrants. Quad refers to 4. And if we look at it, there are 4 distinct parts on this coordinate plane. You have this one right here, and so what I'm going to do is I'm going to label it Q1. This one is Q2. This one is Q3. And this one is Q4. Whoops, that's not how you make a 4. All right, Q4. There we go. Now, in order to figure out how to count these quadrants, you make a big C. And that's sort of how we start. So we start up here at 1, and then we work our way down like that. And so this is how we go from 1, 2, 3, and 4 by making a big C. And there's a little catch with the quadrants. The things on the X or Y axis are technically not in any quadrant. So if I were to take a point like this one right here, which would be 10, 0, this is not in quadrant 1 or quadrant 4. It's just in no quadrant. However, the yellow point right here is in quadrant 1. and the green point is in quadrant 2. And so the analogy I like to make for quadrants, it's kind of like saying, hey, go north, go east, go south, go west. It kind of gives you a sense of direction to where something is. It's not very precise, but it kind of, it tells you which way to sort of look. Now, let's talk about plotting points. So let's say I'm going to let A equal the point 12, 7. So what you have to remember here is that our points or our ordered pairs are always given as an x, y. And that this is the x-axis, that is the y-axis. And so we just go over however far, 12 on the x, and then we're going to go up 7 on the y, and this right here is our point. And that's all I need, and then I can label it like point A. Let's say point B is going to be equal to 6, -10. So same thing, I'm going to go over 6 on the x-axis, and then I'm going to go to -10 on the y-axis, and I'll plot a point right there. Just to give you a little more practice, let's go with point C, and let's say that you are at 0, -6. So I don't go anywhere on the x-axis, I stay at 0, but then I go down to -6 on the y, and I plot my point. Oh, forgot to label these, B, C. Let's do one more for good measure, D. Let's say we have -3, 8. So again, start at the origin, go over 3 on the to -3 on the x-axis, and I go up to 8 on the y-axis, plot my point, and there we are. And that's how we plot points. It's pretty straightforward, it just takes a little bit of practice. Finally, let's talk about how to state the ordered pair. So you could be given points, and you need to write where are they located in the coordinate plane. So same thing, we just have to remember that they're listed as an x, y, and so we just have to sort of drag our finger or our pencil to wherever it is on the x and the y axis. So for A, it is at -10 on the x-axis, and if it's on the y-axis, it hasn't moved up or down any points, so we'll say that is 0. For B, it's back -4 on the x-axis, and up +4 on the y-axis. For C, same thing, let's go to the left, -7 on the x-axis, down 3, or is that 4? 4, down 4, -4. And so you just have to understand, or the big trick here is to make sure that we're putting the correct sign. If it's positive or negative, make sure that we're including those positive and negative signs. All right, and then D, going all the way over to 14, up 1, so 14, 1. And E is going to be 9, -6. And again, the point here is we could have a lot of different combos for which ones are positive, which ones are negative, but really all we're doing is we're looking at 2 number lines, and we're doing 2 number line problems. So hopefully this has kind of shown you a few things about how to plot points and what the coordinate plane is. Good luck on your homework or practice, and let me know if you have any questions.